Late last night on Jen Psaki's new show, conservative lawyer George Conway gave a scathing review of the Supreme Court's decision to keep Trump on the ballot. Watch this clip and then let's talk about it.
You tweeted today, it doesn't even profess to be interpreting the text.
It doesn't. And I think that's Professor Eiffel said that there was a lot of overreach in the majority opinion. I think the problem here is that all 9 justices underreached. They simply decided that they weren't going to apply the Constitution the way you normally apply it, which is you read the text and you try to figure out what it means in the context of the history, and you apply it. And the plain text of the constitutional provision here says that Donald Trump is disqualified. The fact of the matter is that there's no basis to single out Section 3 as being different from these other provisions, and they're just making it up.
They're just making it up. Instead of reading the Constitution and looking at precedent, which is what the Supreme Court is supposed to do when reviewing these really monumental decisions, the Supreme Court is instead creating a hole with which they can fill in decisions that have no historical precedent so they can avoid thorny issues and thorny decisions that will upset the public. I have news for the Supreme Court. The reason why you're the Supreme Court is because what you decide is supreme and is supposed to not be dependent upon what the public thinks, what politics thinks, what the political ramifications would be. The Supreme Court is supposed to look at laws and make decisions based on the law and what the Constitution says, not what the outcome will be. We have a Supreme Court that is totally radicalized, and I love what George says right here, totally scared. Listen to this.
Because they were terrified.
Of what? Trump? The reaction?
The reaction. And I think that's clear from Justice Barrett's concurring opinion. I mean, she says all of this stuff she says the quiet part out loud. This is not the time to amplify disagreement with stridency. The court has settled a politically charged case in the volatile season of a presidential election. Particularly in this circumstance, writings of the court should turn the national temperature down, not up. She's terrified. The only rationale they had for not applying it is to say that, oh, well, you'll get this patchwork. Some states will rule this way. Some states will rule that way. Some states will use different records. Some states will use different procedures. But that shouldn't be the court's problem. That should be the insurrectionist's problem.
That's right. It's not the court's job or the Constitution's job to make conveniences for someone who committed insurrection. And by the way, courts did find that Donald Trump committed insurrection. And so it's not our responsibility to try to make the election process easier for him. If anything, we should be making it harder. And if the Supreme Court really was just, they would be keeping him off the ballot. This could not be a clearer issue, and it's a total disgrace that Donald Trump is even allowed to run. But I'm glad George Conway, a conservative lawyer, is out there at least telling the truth, taking the Supreme Court to task.